What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and I wanted to touch on something regarding the Kenobi series, specifically an article that was written from a very interesting perspective, and that perspective was so interesting that the author of one of my absolute favorite Star Wars EU, or Star Wars Legends, which is far superior to Disney canon in my humble opinion, he actually responded to on Twitter. And you can see here, we'll read the whole thread eventually, but I just wanted to do the top. And John Jackson Miller, who wrote this book right here, Star Wars Kenobi, a great book describing what happened to Obi-Wan between episodes 3 and 4, which is kind of why it's relevant to the Kenobi series. This piece touches on the choices I faced in writing Kenobi. Tim Zahn and I have joked on panels that our preferences are polar opposites. He envisions an active Obi-Wan running about distracting Vader from Tatooine. I feel that exile is exile, and his mission is right there. And this article does get into that a little bit. Now, as I said before, I've talked about the Kenobi series a decent amount. I've talked about what these supposed plot leaks were supposed to be that leaked on Reddit, and I said I didn't believe them. Then we had a report from that originated with the Illuminati that said, oh wait, the things in that Reddit plot are basically true. You know, we have a source that says the same thing. And of course, a week later, the Illuminati comes out and runs an absolute garbage, verifiably false piece about George Lucas coming back for the Cassian Andor series. So Illuminati's completely BTFO'd as far as any credibility. So I still think that those leaks are you should really take them with a grain of salt, or sand, if you will. But Star Wars Kenobi is one of the reasons that I've always not wanted to really see this Obi-Wan Kenobi series from Disney+. Although I love Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, maybe not so much running around talking about Black Mask. I love the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi so much, but I have my perfect story for in between episodes 3 and 4. And I know that whatever Disney's going to try to come up with is not going to be this good. And if they try to adapt it, that's even worse, because I know they're just going to screw it up. With that being said, let's get into this article. Obi-Wan Kenobi, a pause for thought. It was announced at the end of January that the series Kenobi was in trouble. As more and more details emerge, the problem seems to be with its script, that the story is too close to The Mandalorian. Lucasfilm, and I think rightfully so, want to have a range of TV shows that each have their own distinctive feel. Yet can they really let an opportunity, one that would see Ewan McGregor come back, slide out of reach? And then he talks a little bit about Rogue One and how people got so attached to those characters that they wanted a prequel. Next paragraph he says, but why mention this? Because I think Disney has another bold decision that needs to be made concerning Kenobi. Everywhere you look, people are speculating about Kenobi seeing a return of Ahsoka, Rex, or even Maul. The list is endless. There is then talk about Obi-Wan could fly off on some adventure, leaving Tatooine. And I can see the temptation of Obi-Wan acting like a Jedi and going to planets unheard of to see familiar characters returning. But the brave decision Disney needs to make, none of this can happen, not a single one. And I agree with that. As I said, I don't think anything they come up with is going to be as good as the story that I already have from Legends. However, he's 100% true. Obi-Wan, they do not need to make this series some, like Dave Filoni fan service show. And what I mean by that is, fan service is great at the right times, but fan service can also become too much when it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for Obi-Wan Kenobi to leave Tatooine. He is there for one specific job. It doesn't make sense for him to really be a Jedi anymore. He doesn't want to draw attention to himself. This book does an incredible job of describing exactly what Obi-Wan Kenobi is going through. He has failed as a Jedi. He has failed as a mentor and a master. He has failed as a friend. And he cut his best friend down and left him to burn on the shores of Mustafar, right by the lava there. And he's dealing with that every single day. But he knows that he still has two more missions, really. One, to communicate with Qui-Gon, and two, to keep Luke Skywalker safe. And that's what he would do. He would not go off adventuring. It just wouldn't happen. Now, for some fans, maybe even Disney, this might seem like production suicide, but to me it seems absolutely essential. We have to understand where Obi-Wan is in all this. Obi-Wan, to his knowledge, has killed the Chosen One. The Jedi have all but been destroyed, and the galaxy is at the hands of a dictator who is also a Sith Lord. What is left of the Jedi, Obi-Wan and Yoda, with a few others scattered about, do not have the strength to stop him. Yet there is hope, the offspring of Anakin Skywalker. Obi-Wan and Yoda believe it's Luke and Leia who can stop the Emperor, and only these two. If we look at The Empire Strikes Back, Obi-Wan believes it's just Luke. With the fate of the entire galaxy at stake, it is the task of Obi-Wan to watch over the way, protect him. Obi-Wan's tasked with watching over a person who can free the galaxy, perhaps bring balance to the Force and find victory where the Jedi found defeat. And that's very similar, basically, to what I just said, I suppose. What I'm trying to say is that in the stakes of what Obi-Wan has to do are astronomical. He's not simply an exile. He's still a Jedi. He still has a task to complete. With so much on the line, why would he leave Tatooine? And 100%, that seems like such a Disney thing to do. To leave and go to, like, Naboo, or leave and go to Alderaan, to show us Alderaan, and to draw us in with that. Ooh, the fact that we might see baby Leia, we might see baby Luke. A lot of babies popping up in Star Wars right now. And I thought it was so interesting. And here it is again. Talking about character cameos, all this stuff. That's not what you need. You don't need these grand stakes in every single thing you do, Disney Star Wars. It doesn't need to be 10,000 Star Destroyers. It doesn't need to be everyone can destroy a planet. It doesn't always have to be that way. And maybe they did learn that a little bit with Mandalorian. You know, you don't need some stakes that are galactic ending, you know, that are absolutely astronomical. In this book, it's about Tusken Raiders and settlers and even Jawas to a certain extent, but it's just a story about a town trying to survive and the struggles that they have, and Obi-Wan trying not to get drawn into a conflict because he has a responsibility, but he also still has the responsibility, his inherent nature as a Jedi, to help people. That's what they should be doing with this Disney Plus series. What they'll likely do is just like what he says and go Disney with it. Then he talks about, here we go. So where does this leave Disney? Well, I'd expect something very similar to a Western, with Obi-Wan interacting with the people of Tatooine. One of my top 5 favorite Star Wars books is John Jackson Miller's Kenobi from Legends. In the book, Miller never lets Obi-Wan off planet, but instead has him interacting with locals, Jawas, and Tuskens. We get to see what life is really like on Tatooine and the trouble the natives encounter every day. It's a tremendous read that keeps you on the edge of your seat. Although more like a Cowboys and Indians story, it feels like Star Wars through and through. And of course, they did go to Tatooine in The Mandalorian, and that might be one reason they might be hesitant to just keep him on there the whole time, because it might feel the same. But you can't change what the story should be just because you're afraid of something else. Obi-Wan's story between episodes 3 and 4 belongs on Tatooine, and Tatooine alone, in my opinion. But I want to read the rest of what John Jackson Miller says, because he's very... I really appreciate his perspective on this, because he is the guy that gave us this, that gave us a great insight to Obi-Wan Kenobi and to Obi-Wan's psyche during this. I should underscore that both choices are valid and not the only ones. 100 writers can look at the same situation, come up with solutions that go in different directions, and all of them can yield great stories. My thinking in the book was the Jedi were the hope that had failed. Obi-Wan's atonement meant staying put, never running until the new hope went with him, no matter how long that took. Running interference was the job of the rebels, just like the armies distracting Sauron. Again, more than one option can be valid as well as entertaining. I'm just explaining for the choice I made in the particular work, which is why I think it made sense for it. There's a lot, and this is talking about a making of the book that started so long ago. I really thought this was interesting, and a lot of people have shown interest, so hopefully more people buy this book. And I would highly recommend it as well. And I guess just to wrap up, I would say, instead of all this waiting for a Star Wars Kenobi series that is probably going to be less than what you desire, the scripts are messed up, Kathleen Kennedy's lied to us about it, Ewan McGregor has gone out and said, oh, well, don't worry, it's still going to release the same time, it's just going to start filming like 7 months later. And who knows, there's rumors now about it possibly being turned into a movie, maybe shortened into 4 episodes, who knows how valid any of those are. But there's no doubt that there's production concerns with it. If you want a great Obi-Wan Kenobi story and you love Obi-Wan Kenobi, read this book, Star Wars Kenobi. I don't know too many people who have read it and been disappointed with it. It's a great book. It's an emotional journey with Obi-Wan, with his failures, yet moving past it and realizing what he has to do. So I would highly recommend doing that. As always, the expanded universe, now known as Star Wars Legends, is vastly superior to the Disney books and the Disney comics that they have out there. In addition, obviously, basically everything is better than the movies they put out. Let's just be honest. But let me know what you guys think about this, about my opinion of what they should do with that Kenobi series. They should keep it on Tatooine, because clearly that is the best model, and it just doesn't make any sense. I agree with that article. It doesn't make any sense for Obi-Wan to be gallivanting around the galaxy when he has a responsibility to stay hidden and keep Luke safe. But in Disney Star Wars, who knows what's going to happen? In Disney Star Wars, Luke Skywalker doesn't really even matter, does he? In Disney Star Wars, Luke Skywalker really just only ends up delaying the Emperor a little bit. Anakin's journey is basically useless. They just delay the Emperor a couple decades so that the Emperor's granddaughter can then be the one to finish it. She succeeded where they failed. Right, Disney? Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.